It's a fine morning to have you here. Good to have you here. It's been long since our last class, and I've been looking forward to today. Thursday is actually one of my favorite days of the week because I get to interact with all of you. It's good thing that I've started knowing some of you. Okay, I'll be mentioning some of you by names. All right. So with that, my name is Zablon. Welcome once more. And with me, I have my colleague, Mr. Gerard Mancherecheze, who's our lead module for the database design class. I don't know if Gerard is here to unmute and say hi.
Good morning to my Africans and across abroad. Thank you so much all for joining today's session. It is yet another time. I think this one took quite a while. I was very much excited and I miss all of you. And I hope that we can definitely make something out of this today. So stay put. Get your coffee. We are about to learn and drop some. Oh, the comments. Amazing. Let's go. Back to you, Zablon.
What about those who only take tea?
Um, when we do take, we sip coffee because Java, Java, Java was initially made by coffee. So let's all sip coffee. Today we're sipping coffee. And we get those morning chills. I don't know where you are, but in South Africa, if you are in South Africa, the weather is very gloomy. So coffee does the trick. So let's go. Back to you, Zablon.
All right, thank you so much, Gerald. All right, allow me to share my presentation slide so that we can start. My screen there. Okay, I believe my screen is visible on your end, everyone. React with a thumbs up, you can see my screen. So we'll start with a recap of what you are required to do in week 2. And then from there, we can start now our today's presentation, right? So how do you start, how do you access the assignment? So first things first, access your database, design and programming SQL module or this course. You click open, and then you read through, at least read some of this instruction, okay? And then you come to the overview, there's instructor, and then this curriculum. So we in week 2, right? So we open week 2. Remember last week I said you start by learning what is select, what is wildcard, and all that. And then you come where? To the assignments, all right? So there is the assignment. How do you accept the assignment? Right click, open in a new tab. All right. Once you open in a new tab, this is the first thing you're going to see. You're ready to go. You accepted the assignment week 2, right? Then, so once you've accepted, click this blue link, this one. Just see the one that I'm moving my mouse on. Look, hey, look here, this one. Yes, this one. Click that, open, and then once you open, you'll be directed to this page. I believe this one is visible to everyone. All right. Okay. Now, this is the repo that has been created purposely for this assignment. Okay. Don't create any other repo. Don't send to us any other repo. All right. Yes. Now, this is the one that will be assessing what you did. Okay. So we have GitHub workflows. This one you're not supposed to touch. This one is for the trainer. Okay. Don't touch it. Now, you're required only to read the README and answers.sql. So the README is where you find the learner's instruction and the learner's guide. You start by understanding the learning objective. What are you going to achieve after you do this assignment? Okay, you start reading here. I realized majority of you are not reading this, and this is for you. Okay, we've written it for you guys to understand. Okay, and then you come here. What you'll need: a computer with internet access and a database setup. This database setup especially is MySQL and a text editor, Visual Studio Code, but you can use any other. All right. And also basic knowledge, because now we're in week 3, at least you've learned some basic commands, so you're able to write some query. Now, come to the submission instruction. Okay. Now, this is the major part. Write all your queries. It's here, it's written in bold. Write all your queries where? In this answers.sql file. Where do I get this file? Okay. This file is here. Okay. We are together up to that point. This file is here, all right? So, and then answer each question concisely and make sure your queries are clear and correct. And then structure your response clearly and use comment if necessary to explain your approach. So let's start. Now, these are the assignment questions. For those who have been asking, where do I get these questions? I don't see the question. I don't see the question. Now, this is where you get the assignment question. I've been getting a lot of messages on WhatsApp where some of our learners are not able to see the assignment question. These are the assignment question. We have for week 2, we had how many? 5. For week 1, the 1, 2, right? No, I said. So once you are here, first things first, start by doing what? Come to this green button, you copy the link, right? The link should be in HTTPS. Okay, copy there. You've copied, you take a deep breath, and then try to think what should be the next approach after this. All right. I said you open what? CMD. You just press Windows Start or look at your keyboard, okay? Take time to look at your keyboard. Do you see that button that has Windows logo or Windows icon? That is the button you're supposed to press. Once you press, something like that will pop up, right? Because I'm using the Windows operating system. If you're using Mac operating or Linux, open terminal, okay? You open terminal. The reason why I'm using Windows is because I know majority of us are using Windows. So for Windows guys, you press that button that has Windows icon, and then whatever you're seeing on a screen is what's gonna pop up on your end. And then just write this CMD. Keep it simple like that. Okay. The terminal is gonna open. Okay. Let's take a deep breath. Minimize the terminal. Okay. There's something that I said before we even come to the assignment. You're supposed to go where the recordings. Where do I get the lesson recording? The lesson recordings are here. Just look at them. Lesson recording. There they are, right? It says right click here to access recording. You right click, open in new tab. And then when you open, we have everything, whether it's the afternoon session, the evening session, the morning session. So it depends with you. Which one do you want to go or revisit? Just click in, okay? Also, I recorded like a small video, 2 minutes only, that will only take 2 minutes of your time to understand like how do I import a database that has already been completed to an existing database. Now, this data that I want you to import has tables and it has a lot of data which you can play with, okay? To familiarize with some of the commands that we are teaching you. So I started by saying, first things first, you do what? You see this button, this one, okay? I believe it's visible in the end, okay? Please pay attention. Yes, the ones who are not looking, kindly just pay attention. Please pay attention. Amazing. Now click this and then it will start doing what? Downloading. So there it is. We've all confirmed just downloaded, right? The ones that have been asking, where do I get this sample database? This is the sample database. We've downloaded, right? Up to that point, I believe we are together. Now, if you come to your downloads for Windows guys, also Linux downloads folder, you're going to see the sample database is there. All right, minimize. Now, the next step, as we said, is to open what? SQL Workbench. I believe everyone has theirs, okay? That is, now this is what you call my SQL Workbench. Now, this one is an SQL editor. It was purposely created to help you write SQL commands. We are together up to that point, okay? So login, add your password, like that, open, right? Now, here you have a working area. This is what you call a working area, where you write all the commands that you want. And then on the left side, you're going to see a list of schemas. At the top, we have some menus which are for other functions, okay? And then just next to schemas, there is administration button. I'll repeat again. Next to schemas, I believe schemas is visible and schemas is highlighted in blue right now. When I click the administration, it turns blue. Let me take my cursor out. There it is. Administration is in blue. Okay. Now we take a deep breath again. We try to think what should be the next step. So the next step is to come where it's written data import. Do you see data import? Data import / restore. Click it. Okay. Take a deep breath again. Try to understand what's happening. Now, from here, what's the next step? I said you come and check this box. It says import from a self-contained file. Because what we downloaded is a self-contained file. We all agree that, right? What we downloaded from the Google Drive is a self-contained file. Please pay attention. Now, you check that, right? Once you check that, you'll be required to come and locate where you have the file downloaded, right? Open that, and then here it is, right? It is where? It is in my downloads. As you can see, I've confirmed again, it is in my downloads. Check that and then say open. Okay. Now, come to the next step. This is where you're required to select the database where you want to import data. All right. So click the dropdown and then, okay. So first things first, we were required to create a database. I don't know how I missed that step. So let's create a database so that we come, we come back here, come to the query part. So let's create a database quickly. Then I said you give it name, sales DB, like that. How do we execute? 1, 2, 3. Start counting from the left side. 1, 2, 3. Execute. When you click it, you'll get a green check. This means your commands were success, right? Now refresh the schemas where the schemas you have in bold. This is the schema. It's in bold. Now, if you refresh, click a small icon. There it is. Voila. Now, our sales DB currently is empty. That's why we were importing what? We were importing what? We were importing tables that have complete data. Okay? For you to be able to do week 2 going forward. Week 2, week 3, week 4, up to week 7. And then 8 is a different one. Now, come back to the administration. Okay, the administration part is here. So we are still in the administration. Click the drop down again. Let me restart again. I need to refresh this one. Yeah, there it is. So I'll come back to the administration part, data import. I'll check this, then locate the file. There it is. Open. Okay. Click this drop down. There's the sales DB. All right. The one that we've just created. Click that. All right. And then leave everything the way it is. Minimize this one a little bit. And then the button that's to import, it's right here. The ones that have been saying, I don't see the button. I don't see the button. Where's the button to start import? It's here. Okay. Here it is. Just see where I'm hovering my mouse. Okay. Please see. This is where you get that button. And then when you click it, you get what? A green line like that tells you it has finished. You don't need to import again. You come back to your schemas. Initially it was empty, right? Refresh one more time. There it is. Now it has employees, customers, sales, offices, order details, order payments, product line. We created this data for you to put your knowledge into test. Okay. Now, I see again people are saying, where do I get the Google Drive? We've just shared. You need to come to your LMS. I believe everyone has access to the LMS. It's written here. You need to right click to access lesson recording. Okay, so once you right click, you get everything. The presentation slide, the sample database that you require to use. Also the video that will take you slowly on how to import data. I believe that is clear. All right, now we are done with that point. So let's come back to our repo. Where is our repo? Here's our repo, right? So how did we say we do database assignment? First things first, click that green button. Where's the green button? The green button is here. It's here. Okay, just see where I'm hovering my mouse. And then HTTPS. Copy. HTTPS, copy. This is where you get the copy button. Someone is saying again, well, how do we import? Everything is here in this Google Drive. No, I cannot reshare the link to Google Drive. You need to access it from the LMS. So once you're done with that, okay, you've copied, right? Come back to the CMD because we had opened it earlier, right? So I said, you need to have like one place where you be having all your database assignment, everything related to database in one folder. Okay, one storage location for easy access. So I like everything of mine being in the desktop so that I can access them quickly when I need it. Okay, so change directory. Let me increase the font size. Believe that is visible in your end. So right now I'm in the administration. Okay, so I want to move to my desktop. To do that, we write what? CD. Why? Because we want to change directory from this folder to another. Okay, so we use CD. These commands are applicable to either Mac, Linux, or Windows. So CD, desktop. I know for Windows 11, the path is different. So you need to start by going to the OneDrive and then you access the desktop. Press enter. It doesn't have to be the desktop. You can choose documents, you can choose downloads, just depend with you. And then, okay, and then go to any folder that you created from our previous classes. Okay, I don't know if I still have it, but I'll repeat again, you don't need to create a new folder if you already have it. For example, you created a folder that's called database. So you need to just come and add this assignment there. Okay, so for me, because I cleared my or I removed that folder, I don't know if I have it. Oh, there it is. It's still there. So what I need to do is just git clone. Okay, why do we use git clone? Because we want to download the folder from GitHub to our personal computer. We download where? From cloud to our personal computer. And to do that, we use a special command called git clone. Okay, git clone. So replace the word git clone with downloading. It's just like how you download music from YouTube, okay? And then Control V. So for Linux guys, is Control Shift V. For Windows guys, Control V. Why do I say Control V? It's because you paste the link. Alternatively, let me see if I can. Alternatively, you can just right click your mouse because you've already copied the link and there it will appear. I hope we are together. Now, if I press enter, magic will happen. And there's the magic. So I also realized majority of you don't know the name of the folder or the repo that you've just downloaded. So where do we get that name? The name is here. Look at it here. It's written clearly. Here it is. Week 2A hyphen PLP database debt. For you as if you love the name, your username for GitHub. So for example, if I'm called John, it will be week WK hyphen 2A hyphen John. All right. We are clear up to that point. So Once you're done with that, right now we're in the database folder, but now we want to work on the assignment that we just cloned. To do that, cd that, and then, because this name is too long, it's too long for everyone. You can see it takes a lot of time to write, right? I said you can just press, you can write like 2 words and then press what? Tab key. Where do I get the tab key button? Look at your keyboard. Just take a moment to look at your keyboard. Do you see caps lock? No, don't click caps lock. Just look at it. Locate it. Do you see the caps lock? Now, just above the caps lock, okay, there's a button that has an arrow pointing forward and another pointing backwards. That's what we call the tab key, okay? An arrow pointing forward and another one pointing backward. When you press it, it will autocomplete, okay? Why do I use the tab key? Because the name is long. Alternatively, you can just write the way it is. If you love writing, just write, okay? Do a hyphen PLP like that. Database depth. It's the same thing. Press enter. All right. Now, right now we know the folder that you are required to start working. Okay. So we want to open what you call a Visual Studio Code. What's the Visual Studio Code? It's an IDE. It's where you write most of the Python codes, JavaScript, and things like that. But if you want to write SQL code, you use what? An SQL editor. And an SQL editor is called what? Workbench. Press code space dot. I said, if you do this, you're opening the file, you're opening this folder. No, sorry, you're opening Visual Studio Code in this same path. Press enter like that. And there's the Visual Studio Code, okay? We see the same 3 files like in GitHub. So as I said again, now do not touch this GitHub.workflows. Never touch this. Do not touch this. It's okay to be curious, but never touch them. Once you tamper them, we'll not be able to see what you did, okay? Please, again, those who have been asking a lot of questions about this, just leave it the way it is. I understand it's okay to be curious, but just see the commands and then close it, okay? It's not bad to have a look at it. Just leave it the way it is. Now, your 2 files are here, answers.sql and the readme. Now, the questions are where? It's here again. If this is not visible, you can always come back to where? Here, and then read it, because this one's more appealing. I believe we all agree on that. Great. Up to that point, you are clear, right? Thumbs up if you're clear. Great. Now, let's start by reading this question. Write an SQL query to retrieve check number. It's in bold. That's the column that you want. That's the first column, check number, right? Payment date and amount from the payments table. Where do I get this table? Okay, this is a new table. I don't know where to get this table. This table, it's here. You see, do you remember the data that we just imported? That's where you get the payments table. It's here. It's written clearly, PAYMENTS, payments. It's there. Okay. So once you located the payments table, come back. So which column does Zablon ask for? Check number, payment date, and amount. So last week we learned select. And what did we say select is used for? Please write there in the chat. So select. So let's clear that. And then write use cells DB like that, semicolon. So we said if you want to retrieve certain columns, we use what? Select. And to do that, you write select, okay? And then, oh, I've forgotten the columns. It's check number, payment date. Check number, comma, payment date, all right? And then comma. The other one is amount from payments, comma, okay, no, press enter, and then from payments. Now, if I execute, you'll see some magic happen. Okay, not magic, but you're going to retrieve, all right? So once you've confirmed, we've all confirmed this one is working, okay? We've tested the command, right? Agree, react with the thumbs up if you agree, if you've tested the commands are working perfectly. So your next task is to do what? Highlight. How do you highlight? Just click your mouse, okay? Just click your mouse and then drag it up to that point. Copy for me, like that. How do you copy? Highlight, right click, copy. Come back to Visual Studio Code, okay? Answers.sql, all right? Since I'm done with question 1, paste it there, like that. You're done. Come to question 2. All right. So what does question 2 ask for? Write an SQL query to retrieve order date, required date, and status, okay, of orders that are currently in process. Currently in what? Process from orders table, sort the results in descending order of the order date. Come back here, okay. Let's see. Let's first of all, let's try to retrieve the orders. Select everything from orders. Dated, okay. Do we see those columns that I'm asking for? The status is here, okay. The required date, order date, and which other one? Order date, required date, and status. All right, let's write now. So I'll just change here. Order, order date, and then required date, like that. And then also status from that, from orders where status is equals to in process, like that. Order by, we order by what? We order by sort the result in descending order of order date. In descending order. So once I execute, let's see. And there's the magic. So what are you required to do? Okay, just see. You confirm there's an output, right? That's all that is required of you. Highlight, copy, come back here. Visual Studio Code. We are done with question 2. There, save. Question 3. Write an SQL query to display first name, last name, email of employees whose job title is sales rep and order them according to descending order of employee, right? So first of all, let's try to understand the table. Select all from employees. There it is. So we confirm this first name, this last name, this email, and what else? Okay, so nothing else. So this one is just like the one that we just did. So select first name, last name, and then the email from employees where job title. Do you have a job title here? Yes, we do. Date is equal sales rep. Or we are supposed to order by what? We order by employee number in what? Let me just copy this because of time. Copy paste there in descending order. So once we execute, you confirm, there they are. Copy that. Come back to the Visual Studio Code. The ones that have been asking, how do we execute from Visual Studio Code? We are not executing from Visual Studio Code. I hope you're all clear on that one. Okay. Has anyone seen me executing any command from Visual Studio Code? Are we clear on that one? Question 3. I've pasted there. And then write a query to retrieve all columns from Office. This one was an easy one. So you're just supposed to write what? Right, select all from offices, like that. Execute confirmed, there, copy. Question. Oh. Now let's finalize. Write a query to fetch product name, quantity in stock from products table. Sort the result in ascending order of buying price and limit the output by 5. This one was a simple one. So which table are we working with? From products table. It's here. So let's try to understand the products table, how the products table looks like. So do you have all those columns that we're being asked for? Product name, I see it's here. And then the quantity in stock is here also. Which other one? We also have, okay, those are the only ones that required from me. So select product name. Quantity in stock. From products. The reason I'm going to the next line is for you to see, okay? Otherwise, you can just write them in one line, but for clarity's sake, just come to the next line to make it more appealing. And then from sort the result in ascending of buying price. So order by that in ascending order, limit 5. Execute. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's what limit means. So you're only limiting to only 5 rows because you only want 5 rows. So copy this. We are done with question 5. Paste it there. I believe everything is clear now, right? I've not executed anything from my Visual Studio Code. I believe you're all clear on that. So I don't want to see that question of how do I execute anything from the the Visual Studio Code. Now this is where another challenge is how to push back, right? So first things first, take a deep breath. Now you can just give yourself a pat in the back. You've done amazing work. You've confirmed everything is working, okay? Now, clear the screen. So first things first, write git status. Now, when you write this tells you which file was changed. And where do I get the name of the file that I changed? It's here in red. Just look at it. It's here. It's looking at you, answers.sql. So what do you need to do? Git add answers autocomplete with tab key, and then press enter. And then git commit with a message, okay? Completed or submission, any message, okay? With two, like that, press enter. And then you git push. Once you press enter, everything will be visible. Where? Here, right? Okay, I can just git push. I don't know what will happen, but no, I can't. No, I don't. I'll mess everything. Okay, if I git push, because I'm using from the main account of the one that created the assignment. But I hope everyone understand. You are required to press enter. Okay, I cannot because I'm going to mess all of your assignment if I press git push. So once I do that, I've completed everything, all right? Refresh, you're going to see the changes where? You're going to see the changes in answers.sql. Come back here to this, okay? Please copy it from here. Now, come back to the LMS. Where's the assignment? Here, this is the assignment. Finish the assignment, submit. I'll remove it later. And then submit. Once you've submitted, you unlock it from here. Do you see this button? Please look. If you know you're not paying attention, please look. Here, click here. If I unlock, you'll see a green check that says I've unlocked week 3. Then you start reading. Now, when it comes to Thursday, you'll be way ahead of others. This is only what is required of you. Just that. All right. So if you're clear on that, you can just clap for me if you've understood how the assignment is done. I believe now that's clear. Now, let's
All right. I think I just want to clarify something very clear, and I will not repeat this one. Ladies and gentlemen, and everybody else, when you are working on your assignment, let me speak specifically for database, you are not to create your own repo, okay? You are not to create your own repo. There is a reason why we gave you the repo to access your assignment. So do not share that repo with your friends and do not fork that repo, okay? Is that clear, everyone? Happiness? Does that make sense? Does it make sense? All right. Your repo is only to be accessed by PLP and you, nobody else. And sharing your repo is just as good as an irregularity, you know? So, yes, I think we're good. Zaplon is back. Can we get started?
hey, KPLC did that thing.
I mean,
Yeah, so Guys, right.
Yes, only for database. I'll only speak for database for now. I'm not sure how what other instructors have instructed you to do. So for database, kindly let us follow the instructions. Before you start an assignment, read the instructions of the assignment. I see most of you did not see that you had to import the predefined database. Let's read through the instruction. Let's not be lazy, guys. It's just a few lines of instruction.
Emphasize on that. Please read.
Yeah, let's read.
Read.
Over to you, Zablon. Zablon, I think we're struggling to hear you. Zablon. Okay, so let's just give Zablon a minute to join again. Right, yes. So let us read. This is the time when instructor Chagin says it's time to do what? To sip some coffee. Let us sip some. Everybody, make sure you are sipping some coffee. Zip some coffee. Zip, zip. Let us zip some coffee. And then let us just also work together, guys. There's quite a lot of you. So if you do have a question, you put it on the chat. If you have a comment, let's put it. No, no, no. If you have a question, you put it on the Q&A. If you have a comment, you put it on the chat. So Q&As are only for questions so that it is just so much faster for me to go through all of them, you know. Sometimes I find some comments on the Q&A and it takes time for me to get to the other questions. But yes, I think we are getting along very well. Please be patient with me on the chat on the Q&A. I am going to respond to all of them. There's like
Right.
uh, yeah.
Amazing. So,
All right.
welcome again once more. I don't know why KPLC keeps doing the thing that they are doing. So, I love to contact them and tell them to stop. So, yeah, I'm going to share some very important knowledge to you guys. And, okay. So, what will you learn in today's lesson? At the core of this lesson, you learn how to do the following. Number one, you're going to understand database transaction and their properties. Okay. Later on, we're going to group data effectively using the group by clause and filter with having for more refined results. Again, we're also going to utilize some of what we call the SQL aggregation.
Instructor Zablon, I think we lost you again. We can't hear you.
Hello, Gerald, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, we can hear you.
Hey, apologies, guys. I'm really going through it. The power guys, I don't know what's happening, but it's good thing that I have a backup. Okay. Now, I believe it's visible. Yeah, let's start. Now we were here. So as I said earlier, we're going to understand database transaction and their properties. We're also going to group data effectively using the group by clause and filter groups with having for more refined results. We're also going to utilize advanced SQL aggregate function to perform complex data retrieval, including the count, sum, average, mean, and max. Okay. And later on, we're also going to use SQL commands to filter data in a database using the where class, which you already learned in last week class. So let's start out with the transactions. So what exactly is transaction? Okay. Jared, my screen is visible.
Yes, Zablon, we can see it.
Impressive. All right. So we say transaction is a collection of operations, the reads and writes, okay, that are treated as a single logical operation. And we have, okay, guys, what I need you to do is just write for now. And then when I start writing the commands, also write. Later on, you can practice these on your own because we realize it's not easy for you guys to switch your screen back and forth. Okay, so please just note down whatever I'm gonna say and also the commands that I'll write, and then you can practice them later. I think we are clear on that one. Yeah, so transaction is a collection of operation, the reads and writes that are treated as a single logical operation. We have what we call the properties of a transaction. We call them the ACID properties, okay? So number one, we have atomicity, we have consistency, isolation, and durability. Let's start with atomicity. So number one, note this down. Atomicity simply means that all queries in a transaction must succeed for transaction to complete. Okay, I'll repeat. Simply means that all queries in a transaction must succeed for transaction to complete. If by any chance one query fails, the entire transaction fails. For example, I believe we've all gone to these fast food joints. Okay. Please in the chat, kindly tell us what's the name of the popular fast food joint in your country? Ours is which one? Guys, please share there. Ours, because I don't go to those places. Now, one of the most popular fast food joints that I know in my country is called. Why do I keep forgetting the name? Anyway, let's go. Let's just go with KFC. Now, imagine. I don't know if the KFC in your country has self-service where you just go and key in your order. Let's say you want 2 chicken wings and maybe a bottle of Coca-Cola, okay, and also an ice cream. There, you key in, and then the person at the counter will get that John has made an order or has requested for an order, right? So once you key in, you'll be prompted to do what? Pay, right? Whether you enter, you can either enter your card or in our country we have what you call M-Pesa, which is a it's a payment way. Okay, so you'll be prompted to, if by any chance that whole transaction, that record will not be stored because why? One of the transaction failed. So we have two transactions here. We have where you are initiating, you as a customer, you are trying to initiate the order and also the payments. So the transaction was where? When you're ordering, making the order, and then that order was going to be stored where? In the database. But you as a customer, maybe you did not have enough funds in your bank account, and then the payment failed. So that transaction was not what? Completed. It failed. So that property was not achieved because that record was not stored in the database that John made an order of 2 chicken wings and a bottle of Coca-Cola. So that one failed. Another analogy, I know we all love Jumia, right? So Jumia, when you go to Jumia, right? Maybe you want to buy some very nice pair of Nike. I like Jordans though. So when you want to buy a nice pair of Jordans, usually do what? You select the pair, um, the size of your foot. Mine is what? 7? Yeah, there. I select 7. Maybe you want the type it's black, and then maybe with a white stripe, that one. And then you add your order to where? Your cart. Okay, you add it to the cart, and then you select, now you want to finalize the payment. You're going to do what? You finalize the payment where you're required to do what? To pay. Now, once you pay, that's when the guys at Jumia will tell you, by the way, you've made an order for this nice pair of shoes, and your order will you'll receive your order in maybe 3 days or 7 days maximum or a month. So if by any chance when you're trying to make the purchase, one of that fails, that means the transaction will not be complete and atomicity will not be achieved. Let's go to consistency. I hope we are all clear on that one about the atomicity. Please react with the thumbs up if you're okay with that. If I'm clear on that, please react with the thumbs up. Let's go to consistency. So with consistency, please write this down. Consistency ensures that a transaction takes a database from one consistent state to another. What do I mean by this? Later on, you're going to see how we can ensure the consistency of data that's stored inside a database by using what you call referential or foreign key or other constraint. Mostly the constraint part is what we're going to emphasize on when creating the table to ensure data integrity. So you can write that consistency ensure that a transaction takes the database from one consistent state to another. Technical term for consistency is referential integrity. What do I mean by referential integrity? It's a method, okay, of ensuring that relationship between table remains consistent, okay, and the key that we use to do that is called a foreign key. Keep it that simple, short and simple. Let's go to isolation. So with isolation, we say that isolation, write this down, it guarantees that concurrently running transactions should not interfere with each other. Okay? It guarantees that concurrently running transactions should not interfere with each other. So where, for example, let's say I'm a dev, right? You also are dev. And we are trying to maybe update a certain record. All of us are the same. Maybe you're trying to retrieve, I'm trying to update. So, for example, when you retrieve when you're the first one to retrieve, and then I update it like in a split of second, okay, milliseconds or milliseconds, all right? What are you going to see? Is it the previous record that was there or the most recent one? So to avoid such occurrences, isolation must be achieved, okay? Where we say isolation, it guarantees that concurrently running transaction should not interfere with each other. I believe we're all clear on that one, why we need isolation, okay? And finally, we have what we call durability. To remember all these properties, just write the initial ACID, acid properties. Okay, so with durability, now this one is the most simplest one. It guarantees that changes made by a committed transaction must not be lost, and all committed transactions must be persisted on a durable non-volatile storage disk. This ensures that any committed transaction are protected even if the database crashes. I know right now you're asking, why do we need all these transactions? I'll tell you, simply because a lot of things can go wrong when you're using the database. The database hardware or the software can fail. We all agree on that one, right? The database might fail, the hardware might fail. Like right now, what if, for example, I was trying to change a database and then the electricity behaves the way it is behaving? Something will either be lost, whatever I was trying to update will not appear, right? Now, another thing, the application calling the database can fail mid-operation. For example, if you build a backend and then your database, your API, okay, maybe it's trying to access the database, or sorry, your application is trying to call the database or trying to access, and then maybe you've not written the wrong credential, you're likely to get what? An error. Also, maybe your database is full. I don't know if you guys remember. Mm, there's a time that you guys were really complaining about the LMS, not having access to the LMS. So, some of you are getting network 4,000 ms. Now, what was happening is several clients can make right. The network can be flooded with more traffic than it can handle. Okay, so you guys were flooding our application than we could handle at that time. But we made a few changes, and right now we are able to handle all of you. Even if all of you submit the assignment right now, nothing will happen. The LMS is stable right now. This week, I haven't seen anyone saying the LMS is in Arabic. You guys never took that opportunity to learn Arabic. Hey, if I was the one, right now I'll be speaking Arabic fluently. Yeah, I'll be adding Arabic to my CV as another language that I can speak. anyway, that's a joke, guy. Uh, Another challenge why we need the transaction is because you might find that several clients can make write at the same time and overwrite each other's changes. That's why we need transaction. So, what are some of the importance of why the transaction should be there? Please write this down. Number one, to ensure what you call data consistency and integrity throughout transactional process. Okay, I'll repeat. To ensure data consistency and integrity throughout transaction process. Number two, to prevent what you call data corruption by maintaining atomicity. Okay, to prevent data corruption by maintaining atomicity. Another key point, to prevent interference between concurrent transactions. Okay, to prevent interference between concurrent transactions. And finally, to guarantee committed transactions are permanently saved during apologies, are permanently saved, ensuring data durability. I'll repeat that. To guarantee committed transactions are permanently saved, ensuring data durability. We are all clear on that, why we need the transaction and why the transaction is property. Please react with a thumbs up if you're okay with that. Right. Gerard, kindly just let me know if there's any points where the learners would like me to repeat because I can't see the other side of my screen. Right. Thank you. And with that, let's introduce something new. Aggregate functions. So what are aggregate functions? Aggregate function is a function that performs a calculation on a set of values and return only a single value. I know right now you're asking, so what are some of these aggregate functions? There you're telling us aggregate function, but what are they actually? Tell us one of that function so that we understand it better. So what are some of the aggregate function? We have count, sum, max, min.
Zablon,
To get, yes, yes, Gerard.
apologies to take you back to the previous
Mm.
slide.
Mm.
Learners would like you to kindly repeat, especially point 3 and 4. And
The isolation part.
yes, some are saying all of them.
Oh, perfect. All right. Okay. So we said transaction. We are all clear on what a transaction is. We said a transaction is a collection of operation, the reads and write, that are treated as a single logical operation. Okay. Please write whatever you're seeing on your screen. Yes, just write that. It's a collection of operation. Okay. The reads and write. You see how you usually operate your database when you want to retrieve, maybe using select, that's it. That is reading. When you're inserting data, that is writing. That's why we say read and write. So what are some of these operations? It's the read and write that are treated as a single logical operation. And then we say transaction has properties. And what are some of these properties? Okay, there is atomicity, there's consistency, there's isolation, and then there's durability. To remember easily, I said just write the initial ACID, acid. Okay, the acid property. So let's start with the first one, atomicity. Okay, before I even touch on that, why do we need this? Because I say number one, database or hardware can fail. The database hardware can fail. Also, the application calling the database can fail mid-operation. Maybe you're trying to add an item to the cart, and you find that you're getting an error. Every time you're trying to add your favorite shoes, maybe Jumia has an offer. You want to add those shoes to a cart so that you can purchase them before they are out, okay? So you're trying to add and then it throws an error. Okay. So you're likely to see an error. That's what we call the application calling the database can fail mid operation. Okay. Some of the operation, maybe you're trying to update, you're trying to insert things like that. Also, the network can be flooded with traffic. Maybe a lot of people are trying to access the same database, maybe 300,000 all at once. Maybe that database cannot be able to accommodate all of you at a single go. So what is needed is maybe we need to increase the hardware, the storage space, and also increase the amount of servers that we have, the number of servers. Okay. We also said another reason why we need transaction is because multiple people can be making, or multiple devs, or multiple people, administrators can be making the writes at the same time. Maybe the manager has called you and said, right now that shoe is not 200. Can you change it to 400? And then maybe another supervisor calls you, please update that to be 400. Maybe they've called the two of you or two of you. Maybe in that company there's only two devs. And then since the communication wasn't clear, the supervisor has called another one and then the manager has called another one. And then all of you are trying to update the same thing. It's gonna crash. If all of you execute that at the same time, I don't think it's possible. Okay. So what will happen is it can either crash. Now, to avoid such kind of scenario, we need these properties to be enforced when creating a DBMS. We are all clear on that one. So number one, we said one of the first properties, atomicity, which simply means that all queries in a transaction must succeed for transaction to complete. If one query fails, the entire operation fails. And I gave an analogy of going to KFC, ordering maybe two chicken wings, and then the time of payment, the payment fails because maybe your card doesn't have sufficient funds. Now, atomicity will not be achieved. It will fail. And then that order will not be stored where? In the database because the payment was not made. We also talked of consistency. We said with consistency, it takes the database from one state to another, from one consistent state to another. And we said A technical term for consistency is referential integrity. Please write this down. Technical term for consistency is referential integrity. Write again. Technical term for consistency is referential integrity. By referential integrity is a method of ensuring that relationship between tables remain consistent. Okay. You can enforce this using what you call foreign keys, other constants that you can use with maybe unique, check, which other one? Default, not null. That's what we call constraint. Come back to the isolation. So with isolation, this is where maybe the two of you are trying to operate the same thing or update the same record all at the same time. Okay. Now to avoid errors, uh, isolation must be achieved. Now it guarantees that concurrently running transactions should not interfere with each other. Okay. We are all good up to that point. So it refers to two or more transactions trying to modify or read the same database record at the same time. So you're trying to modify the same database at the same time. So in order to avoid getting error, your DBMS must have the isolation feature added to it, the property. And finally, durability guarantees that changes made by a committed transaction, okay? Durability simply means, you see all those changes, it guarantees that all those changes must be saved to your database or to the storage area where you have your database. Okay, we are all good on that. So we say it guarantees that changes made by a committed transaction must not be lost, and all committed transactions must be persisted on na durable non-volatile disk storage. This is just the disk storage like the one on your computer. Okay, this ensures that there's a backup even if the database crashes. And we said, number one of the importance of the ACID properties, note this down, it ensures data consistency and integrity throughout transactional process. It ensures data consistency and integrity throughout transactional process. That's the importance of ACID property number one. Number two, we say it prevents data corruption by maintaining what you call atomicity. It prevents data corruption by what you call atomicity, by maintaining atomicity. Number three, it prevents interference between concurrent transactions. And then finally, number four, guarantee committed transactions are permanently saved, ensuring data durability. Okay, please react with a thumbs up if you agree and you're okay now, you're sorted, you've understood. Now we can move forward. All right, perfect. Aggregate function is a function that performs actual value. Okay, so an aggregate function is what? It's only a function that returns a value. Okay, a set of value. Okay, apologies on that. It's a function that performs a calculation. Okay, I want you to note this down. Underline there. Performs a calculation on a set of values. Maybe you have 300, 400, and then you want to calculate all of this. Okay, to return a single value. Maybe you just want to add 300 plus 200 plus 400 plus 100. You get a single value. That is what it means. So what are some of these what you call aggregate function? We said we have the count, the sum, max, average, and the mean. I know we've dealt with maybe average, sum, when maybe you're doing your Excel sheet. I believe everyone has touched on sum, also the average one, where you write is equals and then you write sum, and then you click where you want to add the values, and then you complete, you press enter. You get maybe a value, a single value. That's essentially the same thing we are trying to achieve here. So what is mean? So mean, we say, write this down. It returns the smallest value within a selected column. Again, as the name goes, mean returns the smallest value within a selected column. So what is max? As the name goes, returns the largest value within a selected column. It's just the opposite of mean. You want to get the minimum value, then the maximum, the largest value within a column. Sum. Okay, count. Count returns the number of rows in a set, in a given set. Count returns the number of rows in a given set. And or not finally, but sum, I've said sum. Sum returns the total sum of numerical column. Sum returns the total sum of numerical column. We also have average, returns the average of a numerical column. So sum returns the sum of sum returns the total sum of numerical column. Average returns the average of a numerical column. So right now I know you're asking, how do we use this? Now to use this aggregate function, I often used with the group by clause, okay? Within a select statement, the group by clause splits the result into the groups of values, and the aggregate function can be used to return a single value for each group. Now, let's learn about the group by clause. The group by clause groups rows into a summary row based on a column values or expression. It returns one row for each column for each group and reduces the number of rows in the result set. So for example, if you're going through an Excel sheet, have you ever seen an occurrence where maybe you have maybe let's say you're storing the name of student marks. Okay, not the student marks. Maybe trying to think of a scenario. Maybe you're trying to see the number of items John bought, right? And you're seeing so many occurrence, or there are so many rows, cells that are repeated John, John, John. Maybe John bought a lot of items from a store. And instead of having so many occurrences of John, you just want to group that row to get one John, and then get the sum of the amount John spent in a store. We use what? The group by. So the group by, it groups rows that have the same values into a summary row. Write this down. Group by groups row that have the same values into a summary row. Okay. And sometimes you might want to maybe filter. Maybe you have a list of shoppers who shop in a given mart, but maybe guys who are shopping depending with their pocket, right? Maybe someone is well off, another one they're somewhere. Maybe someone spent maybe 10,000, another one 100 bob. Maybe you want to want to group all these users by those who shopped, maybe made a shopping of something above 10,000. To do that, you use what you call the halving clause. So halving clause is used with the group by clause to filter groups based on a specific condition. The halving clause allows you to apply a condition to the group returned by the group by clause and only include groups that meet specified condition. We are together on that one? Okay, so yeah, and with that now, it's about that time we get our answer 30. So what I'll need you again to do is write the commands that I'll be writing, and then later on you can go through the recording just to see how things are done, okay? And then you practice. But what I'll ask you to do is write down, because the moment I keep switching tabs, I notice that you guys are not able to switch between tabs. Okay,
Hi,
I was to check you. Someone shared this, and I really
Zablon.
love the memes. Okay. Yes, yes, Gerald.
I think you did not share with sound, so we can't
Gerald.
hear.
Oh, well, allow me to share again. Yeah, I need you guys to be sending me this kind of memes. I'll make sure to include them in our slides. Share. Okay, I don't know what's happening. Gerald,
Yes, Zablon.
I think my screen has refused to share. Hey, today I'm really going through it. Not the power.
It's totally normal. I mean, technology, it gets tired at some point. So let's just give it a few minutes.
All right, let me. Is it visible now?
Yes, it is.
I don't know if the. I hope you guys will hear. Is the sound there?
No, there's no sound.
Unfortunately, guys, we'll have to continue. I'll share this in our group. Okay. Yeah. Thank you to the one who shared this. And then this one, I decided to have this because I saw you guys really rushing towards completing week two. So yeah, I find this to be kind of similar when you guys are trying to rush to complete week two so that you can go to week three. So this is how you're understanding like week two content. Yeah, so let's go on. I need someone to volunteer and then read for us the checkpoint questions so that we can go to writing the commands down. I just need one person, kindly. Lucy Were. Yes, Lucy. Hi, Lucy. How are you?
Hi, I'm fine, thanks. And you?
I'm also doing amazing. Not that though. Anyway, so
Yeah, but it
can you
will
see,
be okay.
and no worries. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Impressive. Now read for us the first question until question 4. So once you read, the rest will be answering in the chat. So go on.
Explain what durability means in the acid properties.
Guys, let's comment in the chat. What does durability mean in the acid properties? Question 2.
What is the purpose of the group by clause in SQL?
Okay, what do we use the group by clause in SQL to do? Okay, so what is the function of the group by? Because I was telling you guys, please note down. I'm sure you have the your notes now. You can just tell us.
Do I go on?
Yeah, please.
Explain the difference between the where and having clauses in SQL. When should you use each?
Yes, this one is a tricky one. Explain the difference between the where and the having clauses in SQL, and when should you use each. So let me just explain. With the having, you only use it when you're working with a group by, but with the where you can use it anywhere. So with the where you can use it maybe when you want to retrieve, maybe you want to add a specific condition. That's when you use the where. But with the having, only when you're using with the group by. Now the final one.
Explain what an aggregate function is and provide at least 3 examples of aggregate functions used in SQL.
Yeah, guys, we've touched on some of the popular aggregate functions that you can use in SQL. So please mention some of them. All right, Lucy, read for us the key takeaways as we finalize.
Number 1, the group by clause is used to group rows that have the same values in specified columns into summary rows. Point 2, the having clause is used to filter the results after the group by operation. Point 3, durability ensures that once a transaction is committed, its changes are permanent, even if the system crashes, preserving data integrity. Point 4, isolation ensures that multiple transactions can occur concurrently without leading to the inconsistency of the database state. Point 5, consistency ensures that a database remains in a valid state before and after a transaction. Point 6, atomicity simply means that all queries in a transaction must succeed for the transaction to succeed.
Okay, thank you so much. All right, open a new page in your notes. I'm trying to open my workbench.
Recording in progress.
Okay. Yeah. Now, so this is my terminal. Apologies to everyone who's using a Windows operating system. I'm now using a Linux, but the commands are the same. Okay. I believe my workbench is visible, right? Okay, just give me a minute. Yeah, let's open the SQL workbench. There. All right. So where do we start from? So let's start by understanding how we achieve atomicity. So login, just write, okay, write the commands that I'll write. So allow me please to drop the database that I have here, the sales one, because I also want to show you a new way. For those who have been experiencing a lot of challenges, especially when trying to copy paste or import the tables, right? So let's start by removing it completely. Because I'm going to use the data that's inside there. Execute from here. There it has disappeared, right? We've confirmed. But I still have what? Let me see if I still have it. Downloads. Yeah, it is here, right? Okay, open CMD. Then I believe you're writing down because I know you can switch between both. All right. Now, change directory to downloads where you have that file downloaded like that. And then write this, okay? First of all, we need to sign in on the terminal. To do that, write MySQL -u. That's the name of the user, and then your password. So my password is that, and then once I press enter, I'm directed where? Inside the server. So first things first, I'll create a new database inside the terminal, create database. Okay, it's the same thing. Okay, whether you're using, even if you're using the XAMPP, yes, execute, it's the same thing. Create database, that's the same command. And then space, okay, what is the name of the database that you're trying to create? It's called sales DB, or can give it that name like that. Once I press enter, I'll get what? Query was executed. The same can be written like that. Let me just copy this. Can be written here like that, but now I'll change because we have already created, right, through the shell. So if I change here and then I create a new database, for example, I call this demo. So you can either choose to work with the workbench, or you can either choose to work with where? The shell. It's up to you. Whichever you go with, it's totally okay. So I'll exit out of the shell. So to exit out of the shell, you write exit, then you press enter. Okay. So our file is here, right? It's called it's here, right? It is the sample .sql. So let's import everything inside the sales DB, but now using what? The terminal. Right now it's empty. We've all confirmed it's empty. I've double clicked the tables, but it's not open because it's empty. So come back here and write this MySQL, okay, -u, that's the user, and then -p, because we want to be prompted to enter the password, and then the name of the DB is that, and then write this, you see, less than sign, okay, then specify where you are trying to fetch the data from. If we're still in the downloads, unless this one is deleted or sampled. There it is, right? We've confirmed. When I press enter, okay, all these tables are going to be automatically be populated to this one. Let's confirm. Refresh. Okay. Initially it was empty. If I refresh, there they are. Okay. So you can either choose to use the terminal, or you can just come here, import, and do the necessary, click there, all that. It's up to you. Whichever method you choose, it's totally fine with us. All right, so we've already imported that data, right? So that's all I wanted to show you using the terminal because of Wycliffe. I believe Wycliffe is here. Yeah, so let's start with understanding atomicity, how atomicity can be achieved. So I'll work with, okay, I'll use SalesDB. So the same can be written in the terminal, use SalesDB, okay? And then go to the next line on SalesDB. Okay, go to the next line and then write this. Let's create a new table. I believe everyone knows how to create a table by now. Create table. Let's call it accounts. Open a bracket. Go to the next line. Okay, and then write ID. And then what data type will the ID be? It's going to be an integer. Also, we are passing something else that we call what? A constraint. Primary key, like that. Like that, comma, go to the next line, and then say just, let's create a new column called balance, okay? Now in this balance, the type I want to store is integers, okay? Go to the next line, I don't know why it's changing, and then close it like that. We are all good up to that point, okay? Just react to the thumbs up. If you're all good up to that point, if you've written down, okay? Write down, note down, okay? Yes. Now, once you execute from the top, this account's gonna be created here. As you can see, we don't have it, right? If I execute, what will happen? We'll get a green check here. Now we call this logs, okay, an action output, and then it tells you the number of rows that got affected. That's the message, the time it took. And then when I refresh over here, I'll see the accounts table. Currently, it's empty. Okay, so now let's insert data into our table called what? Accounts. To do that, I'll open a new working area and then write use sales DB like that. Now to insert data, I'll write insert into, okay, the name of the table, open a bracket, specify the columns that you want. For ours is ID and balance. Close that, come to the next line, write values, okay, open a bracket, write 1, take a deep breath, relax, comma, maybe just write 1,000. Okay, so we're trying to insert, right? And then we also want to update it automatically such that, let me add something here at the top. I'll call this transaction. We start transaction. Like that, semicolon. And then I also want to, once I insert data, update it automatically. At the same time, I'm trying to execute 2 transactions at the same time. So update accounts, the name of the table, It's accounts set balance is equals to balance minus maybe 100, and then where ID is equals to 1, okay, semicolon, and then commit like that. The reason why you see that underlined because I did not complete that. So write this down, please. We start a transaction. Let's see how atomicity is usually achieved. So if I insert, okay, if I execute, we're going to see a green check. Let's see if we're going to see that. And there we are. We started from where I use start transaction. Okay, just see where I'm reading from. Insert into, update, commit, all at once, right? So if I retrieve, okay, let me open a new working area. Select all from where? The accounts. If I execute, what will happen? I see 900. Let me come back here. What were we trying to achieve? Just see, initially we were trying to insert the data to be 1000, right? But at the same time, we're trying to update the balance to be minus 100. So what ended up being saved? The 900. Are we together on that one? Please react to the thumbs up if you understood. Okay, so we tried to execute 2 transactions at the same time. And then we started by start transaction and then commit. What this means is save it. Once all this is done, please save it. And we ended up seeing what? 900 instead of what? 1000. Another, what will happen if, for example, let me insert a new one to 500 and then minus maybe 1000. This one does not have a balance of 1000. So what will happen? So just see what will happen. Trying to execute this. Okay, there we are. So if I fetch again, we'll see minus 500, minus 1 and minus. Why is it this way? What did I write? Okay, giving us a minus, right? So what this means, it's not correct. We all know that, right? This one is not, okay, this was somewhere I missed. Okay, no problem. Because I minus 1000, where ID is 1 instead of where ID is 2. Okay, let me take a deep breath. I'm rushing things. I'll repeat again. Let's just drop, we start again. There's something I want you guys to see. So how did we say you drop a table? Let me comment that. There, it has disappeared. Now, let's remove this. Let's create it quickly, kindly. Just bear with me on this one. I'll execute. There we have it. I'll try to update using this one. And then let's fetch it again. We've confirmed it's 900, right? So come back here. I'm trying to update to number 2. Okay. Should be 500. And then balance minus 1000, something that's not there for the user with ID 2. There. If I execute, what will happen? We'll get a minus 500. And there, right? We've all confirmed. Reason being because we saved even if it has errors. But what will happen if I change, for example, with rollback? I saw someone mentioning this yesterday in the group. So rollback 3, 3. So we're trying to see, will this one be saved if I wrote this? Okay, let's execute. When we try to execute, yes, it will run, but will it be saved? There, I've confirmed it has worked because I can see rollback here. If I try to retrieve, we don't see it. Reason being because this one, we are trying to minus 1,000, a balance that is not there. So already the calculation is a minus, it's a negative. So instead of the database storing that, we are rolling back. So the server will just check. If it has errors, like the minus one, the negative, it will roll back to the previous way it was. So it will not save anything. Initially, when I was writing commit, it was saving, even if it had a minus. We can all see that, right? Yes, but when I wrote rollback, in case there is an account balance that is not okay, it will go to how it was. So this won't be saved, even if we try to execute how many times. I believe you're all clear on that one. Okay, so that's how atomicity is achieved. Okay, let's go to where? Let's go to now the consistency part. Okay, so for this one, I'll create a new database. Create database. I'll call this music collection. Please write down whatever I'm saying. Okay, so once I execute, what will happen? So if you're using a terminal, you press enter, then this database called music collection will be created there. So we refresh, here's our music collection. We've all confirmed. Right now it doesn't have any tables, right? We're all together, right? So maybe I want to work with that. I'll just say use music collection. So I want to start by creating two tables. Create table. Let's call this one album. Okay. So what can we store? Album ID. And then it's going to be of data type integer. We can use this as our primary key to uniquely identify each row. Okay. Another thing that I can add here is an auto increment constraint. This is also another constraint that I can add. Why? Because I want to have unique integers instead of me trying to keep on writing 1, 2, 3, 4 like that. I can just pass a constraint to the server, and then the server will auto-populate the unique integers for me automatically. So to do that, we use auto increment. Go to the next line, take a deep breath, and then write the name of the album. It's gonna be a variant char. Let's close it at that. Execute. Okay, let's execute when I'm done with the other one. So I'll create another one. Create table. The name of the table, we call it songs. The ID can be integer, primary key also. Auto increment. Okay, comma. And then I can write the title of the song. It's gonna be a variant char, maybe 100, like that. Then the artist. Also variant char, maybe 50. Let's close it at that. So once I execute this, the songs table will be created, and also the album what? The album table will also be created. I'm writing the comments for you to easily follow later. So if I execute, these two tables are going to be created here in this music collection. So if I execute, okay, if I refresh, okay, okay, we see that. I forgot to pass something here. Allow me to drop it. Today I'm gonna drop a lot of tables here. So I'll just drop it from here. Yeah, there. And then I'll refresh. So I'll write this foreign key ID. I'll add something else here. How do we know a song belongs to which album? That's what I'm trying to achieve here. So album ID like that. And then references. References what? References album. The name of the name of this other table. Where? Album ID. It's written as what? It's written as album ID. This is the ID, the column that I want us to reference or make a reference from, like that. So I only need to create only this other table. So I can just comment this one because I'll not need it. So once these comments are not usually read by the server, once I execute, and there we have it now. So if I refresh, there it is. So we have album ID, artist title, and ID. Currently it's empty. So I can remove this so that I can get some space to write on. So use music collection, and then insert into, okay, insert into what? The album, the name of the table. Which field do we want to only populate? We only want only the name. Close it. Values, like that. Open it. Let's call this one Together Fairy Made of Stars. Do we need to add anything else? No. So that's the first album I'll store there. Once we do that, we can execute, and then there, so we confirm it has been created. Now let's add songs that we can add in this album. So if I refresh, okay, I can remove this. The name of the song, the columns that I want is title, artist, and then the album ID. So songs number 1. Okay, it's title artist. Album ID, close it, come to the next line, specify the values that you want, open a bracket, and then say the first song there that I like is which one now? Okay, I've forgotten. That's the first song there that I like. And then the artist is called Simi. But they go and check out this artist. Very dope. And then the album ID is one, like that, we closed. So if I press enter here, this one will be associated with the album, okay? And then if I try to retrieve, okay, let's try to retrieve. We can just comment this. If I try to retrieve, select all from songs, and there we have it, right? So what will happen if I try to maybe delete this album? I'm likely to get an error. Let's see. Where is it? Okay, I can just write it here. Drop table. We call that table what? Album. If I try to execute, it will throw an error. Yeah, this is the error that I wanted you guys to see. Cannot drop table album because it's being referenced by a foreign key constraint. Do you guys see how consistency is being achieved inside the database? Are we clear on that one? So this means there will be what? Data integrity. Data cannot be corrupted. I know I'm using short examples, but essentially in real world, you'll be getting tables with like 1,000 of records. Not this one. Okay, even 100,000. But if that table is being referenced somewhere else, that table cannot be deleted until you delete the first one first. Reason why it is there is because we pass constraints to ensure data integrity. That's how consistency can be achieved. So the other one is which one? Isolation. Now with isolation, I'm just going to show you how to achieve the isolation. Where is it? Where did I write the isolation part? Okay, let's just write a new one. But now I'll use the sales DB. That way. And then I'll come and write here. This is how isolation is usually achieved. Set session, okay, transaction, like that. And then isolation level read committed. And then go to the, okay, I need to close that. Go to the next line. It's very long, yeah. And then we can now start our transaction here. Start. Start transaction. Now you can either insert into the other table is called what? The table accounts. Open that, the ID, specify that, then the balance, okay? It's accounts. The next thing is values, okay? And then open a bracket. Now specify the values that you want. Maybe it's 4, and then maybe 600. Close that. Update it at the same time. Okay, update accounts. Okay, and then go to the next line, say set balance equals to maybe balance minus 200. Okay, where the ID equals to 4. Close that, and then say commit. There it is done. So this is how it looks. So how to achieve isolation. Okay. So yeah, there it is. So if I execute, we get all reaches, and then it has been committed. So we are all together up to that point, right? And now, finally, we have the final one is what? Durability. So I said durability is just a way of maybe you can, the best way to achieve durability is by just creating either replication or let's say create backups. And one of the best way you can maybe, let's say you want to import this database the way it is. Which one can we import now? Let's go with music collection because it has one of my favorite albums, Together Fair, Made of Stars. Now, inside this, I want to import. I want such that, you see the way you've been importing data. Let me show you how you can export it now. So come back to your terminal. I'll show you the most simplest one. So this is the one. We are using what? We're using the terminal. So I believe everyone by now knows how to sign into the terminal. So write MySQL dump like that, and then write -u, who's the user, and then -p for password, and then write here music collection. Okay, I believe it's still visible because of space. I'm trying to minimize the font size, and then just give the name here. Maybe I'll say music. Music.sql. Okay, so if I press enter, let's confirm one more time. I don't have anything written music.sql here in my downloads, right? Because currently I'm in the downloads. If I press enter, you're going to see this entire database with all the data that I've stored there. So if I press enter, pass in my password. Okay, could not find the table. What am I missing? MySQL dump -u root -p. Oh, I know why. I did a mistake of adding a semicolon. Like that.sql. Let me get some very nice place to write. Apologies, guys. I'll have to reduce the font size. Music. Okay, it has even reduced. Music.sql. If I press enter and then I pass in my password, what do I get? Come back to the download. There it is. We've all seen, right? Are we clear on that one? It's clear, right? Yeah, initially I was making a mistake of adding a semicolon. I thought I was inside the server. So we use this, what you call MySQL dump. And then -u, you pass in, and then you just give the file a name that you prefer. All right, let's come back and understand the group by. Since we already have a database that has already been created and it has a lot of data that we can work with, instead of me creating a new one right now because of time, let's work with the one that we have, the sales DB, this one. We have a lot of tables here, accounts, all that. Let me close all this so that I get some nice place to write. Okay, so first things first, start by writing what? Use. We want to tell the database or the server, which database are we working with? So we want to work with what? The sales DB. Okay, come to the next slide. Right now, when you try to retrieve the orders, okay, you see like so many instances of shipped. All these, how many are these now? There are so many. And other ones are like in progress on hold, resolved. There are so many. Let's group them, and then we get like one instance of each instead of getting all of them. So the first thing we can do is let's group the order status using the group by with the status column. Okay, so we are trying to group the order status like that. So write this kindly. Now to do that, you use select. I believe we all know what select is, and then the name of the column status. Okay, comma or not comma this time, and then from the name of the table, it's called orders like that, and then group by. Group by what? Status. Execute. There we have. They have shipped, resolved, cancelled, on hold, disputed, in process. So if you group them all together, another way we can try this, let's try a new one. Let's try. So we've seen the output groups only return only the unique occurrences of values in the status. Now, but now in practice, you'll often use the group by clause with what you call an aggregate function to group rows into sets and return a single value of each group. For example, to obtain the number of orders in each status, you can use the count function with the group by. So instead of clearing this, I'll just pass in that and then add in count that and that, and then execute. We're going to see something very different. What do you get? The number of orders that were shipped is 303, and then those that were resolved is how many? Because we've grouped them all together. Is 4 cancelled, 6 on hold, 4 disputed, 3 in process. That. But now I don't like the name of the column the way it is. So instead of having it like that, we can write here an alias. An alias is just a temporary name, what you call nickname. As number of orders. So if I execute, it will be replaced instead of having the count method there at the top. Just the name for easy understanding. Number of orders and then the status. So yeah, that's how you can use the group by. Another way, let me try to think of another way. So another way, let's see, let's write a query to count the number of orders for each year. So to do that, the number of queries for each year, we can use the select year. From where? From order date, and then close that. Okay, as year. I've already taught you about aliases, and then count order number. Go to the next line. Say from the name of the table is orders group by the year. If I execute, we get in 2003 there was 111, and then in 204 there's 151, and then in 205 there's only 64 orders made. We are together. React with a thumbs up if you agree. There, I've made it more clear. So yeah, that's how you can use the group by. And it doesn't have to be only the orders. You can also try with the payments. You also have the order details. The order detail has a lot of things that you can try. Let's try one with here, the order details. Okay. I'll come there and remove that. So let's try to see. Let's try to write a query to get maybe the order number of items sold per year. Okay. Okay, not per year, but per order. Okay, so to do that, we start by writing select. And then select what? Order number, comma, and then another one that I can get is the sum of the quantity ordered, like that, multiplied by, let's leave this one like that, as items count, and then comma, reduce the size, the sum also, price of each multiplied by quantity ordered as total from order details we can group by the order number. Like that, let's execute what will happen. Great, I'm getting an error. A known column called quantity, written in the wrong way. Quantity. It's also the wrong way. So let me show you how do you see maybe the number the columns that you have in a given table. To do that, maybe you can write this describe order details, because I don't want to retrieve the whole of it details. So describe, execute. These are the columns that you have. So quantity ordered. What am I writing? Okay, I'll just quantity ordered as, okay.
The second one.
Which second one?
The quantity after price of each times that one.
Oh, thank you so much, Lucy. Out there. So I've confirmed. So we don't need this one anymore. There it is. So order number, item count, and then the total. That's how you can use the group by. So we're using the group by to group all rows, okay? And then we get their total number. Another way we can do this, go to the payments. So we have the total amount. You can also use the mean. Let's just write select check number okay, comma, the max amount for a given check number from payments, and then group by. Group by what? We group by the column that you've not aggregated, because this one is already aggregated. So we group by this. So you can just come and copy this and paste it there, and then execute. When you execute, you get all that. Okay, we are together after that point. And then, so where do we use the having clause? So you can just add the having clause here. Maybe you want to filter by. Let me just give this one an alias as a AMT. So having an amount greater than maybe 10,000. Don't know if you have any. Let's execute. What will you get? There we have, this one is 10,000, this one is 10,000. If you have any that's below 10,000, let's see. No, we don't. They're all above 10,000. Right? Yeah, that's 10,000. What if you go to 20 to 30? They're going to reduce as we keep on. Oh, there are so many. Let's go with maybe 200,000. Do we have any? No, we don't. So yeah. So you can always try with, you can always exercise with this command. Just change them. We can even use the less than or equal to. When you execute it, we don't have any amount that is equal to. Okay, that's equal to 20,000. So yeah, I believe we've all seen how you can use all these, the group by, the order by, and the group by, and which other one? The having, the transaction, and all that. Yes, thank you so much. By the way, one thing to note is also in SQL, you can use both uppercase and lowercase. As you can see, today I've done what? I've written all my commands in uppercase. So it's usually a good practice to write your SQL commands in uppercase. Why? Because it is the most way preferred, because for readability, number one, it allows you as a reader to identify which ones are keyword in SQL and can be easily determine what query is executed. So as you can see, it's easy for you guys to read, right? Yeah, I realized that when I write in uppercase, it's easier for you guys to read. So we can all switch to using uppercase rather than just go with the lowercase. I understand lowercase is easier to write than uppercase, but for best practice, let's all write and switch to uppercase. Another thing I want to mention, nice. I haven't been locked out. So we're in which week? Week 3. So the assignment is there. The lesson recordings are going to be shared immediately we end here. So click here, right click. I believe we are all now familiar with these steps. So I don't need to slow down here. Accept. So this is where you start. You accept, right? Once you accept, you direct to the repo. Now you do the necessary. And then you submit. We are all clear on that one, right? Right. So I want to show you guys something. Please don't leave. Now, there's something I want to show you guys. It's called, we have a train booking DB that I want you guys to participate in. So in this train booking, it's totally open to anyone. Anyone who would like to, who has some spare time and they want to contribute somewhere. The issues are here. So if you see any issues that you are able to tackle, again, it's not compulsory, only if you want to. I've repeated again, this is not an assignment. Only if you want to. This is not an assignment. And it's not compulsory, only if you want to. So yeah, if you want to put whatever commands you've written into practice now, you can always contribute to this. So access the repo, and then if you see an issue that you're able to tackle, just come and write for me here, and then I'll be able to assign. So I'll be doing this on first come, first serve basis. So if you are the first one and they believe you can, I'll also check if you're doing the assignment. I won't assign you if you're not doing the assignment and you're not doing anything. No, I'll also check, is this person even contributing? Are they engaging in class? Yes. And then I'll assign you. So yeah, once you do that, you just do it, and then I believe all shall be well. So the rest we are going to show you how we managed to do it. The other thing, let me come back here. So the link will be shared to you guys. Meanwhile, Gerard, please share the link I showed you in the WhatsApp as I complete. Now there's this new lab. Also, the labs are only if you want also just to complement what you learned in class. So this time I decided to switch it up and build a simple API. Okay. Every instruction is written there. So what you're required to do is come here and then clone it. First things first. Let me just take you through this. So I'll clone it, right? I'll switch back to my desktop. Okay. Then git clone, paste the link, press enter, cd lab 4. Now this one depends on Node.js. Yesterday I did share a Node.js link to download, right? So I believe no one is going to ask how to download Node.js. Check in WhatsApp how to download Node.js. And then the first thing that you write is npm I to do what? To install all the dependency. Once you press that, and then it's gonna start installing. So meanwhile, come back to the repo. Everything's ready for you. So first things first that I'm required to do is create a database library. So I'll just come and copy this. There, come here. So there it is. So I'll create. There is my library database. All right. We've all confirmed, right? It is. It's empty currently. So I'll come to the next one. Create table. So copy that. Come here. Execute. Let's confirm. There we have the tables. But now it's what? It's empty currently. So I've already cloned that. The dependency have been installed. Okay, it's 111 packages, all that. So open your Visual Studio Code. So what you're only required to do is come here to the index and then add your password. Only that. That's the only thing. Now let me explain what is happening here. So I'll share some few links where you're going to learn about what's called an API, about endpoints and things like that. What we mean when you say the HTTP method and all that. So first thing, all these commands, or apologies, all this code you're going to learn in your web module classes. Okay. So for ours, it's usually just to show you how to write these queries, like here. Select all from books. So it's the same thing that we've been writing here, and then select all from books where the ID is that, for example, if you want to update or you want to fetch by only a single book, or if you want to maybe add new book to a database. But because of time, it's really going. Let's run, and then I'm going to see how I do this. npm start. There, so I've confirmed the port is working and it's also connected to the database. So come here to your Visual Studio Code and install this extension. Okay, it will come in handy when you get there in your web classes. I call it under client. Alternatively, you can install Postman or Insomnia. This is Insomnia. I don't want to open that because that one is a complex one. So the first command to write there, come here. So let's execute this. If you want to understand what it does, you just read there. Copy that. Come back to your Visual Studio Code. Remove the get, because the reason why I've written the get is because for you to select either it's get or post. Okay. Yeah. Again, this is not compulsory, only if you want to. Okay. Yes. So if I execute, you're going to see a message here. It says what? No books found. Currently, because why? We don't have any books in our database or this table. It's empty. Let's try to add a new book. We see what will happen. Let's try to add a new book. To do that, use post, come to that. Let's pass in the things that are required quickly. Title. So I'll pass in my, let me see, outliers, because you guys are outliers. The other thing is the description. I'll just write something like that. The cover. And then when execute, we get books has been created successfully. We can all see that. Come and refresh here. Let's confirm. Select all from books, execute. There it is. There is our outlier. Is it visible? Yes, outliers, there it is, and just PNG, the cover. Right now, we are not doing things manually. We are using what? Node.js. Okay, yes. Yeah, so about these codes you're going to learn in your web development class. So the only thing that you're required to write is only this part, the query part. Yeah, and with that, I've come to the end of the lesson. Thank you so much for lending me your ears and sticking along until the end. I believe everything is visible. I'm going to stop the recording so that I take in the questions.